Our 90-day all-access package is always incredibly popular at the start of football, but we've made it even better. Not only do we discount the 90-day all-access package to $7.99, but until August 29th, we've added 30 days. That's right, until Sunday, August 29th, you get 120 days of the most action-packed sports month for only $7.99. That would include the rest of the NFL preseason, all MLB plays through the World Series, the entire college football regular season, at least 15 weeks of the NFL, over 2 months of the NHL and NBA, over 6 weeks of college basketball, plus any soccer, UFC, Asian baseball, Asian basketball, golf, and any other sports your favorite capper releases. The most action-filled 120 days of the sports year are yours for only $7.99.
Welcome, everybody, to WagerTalk Today. It is Thursday, August 26th. I'm Lawrence Presman. That man next to me is Teddy Covers. And we got a loaded show. Couple of legends joining us today. Dave Cokin right at the top. We're going to talk the Dodgers-Padres game. We're going to talk about the Dodgers-Padres last night's game in a second. The Ravens, Washington Football Club, and the New Mexico State college football game. The Penn Ralph Michaels making an appearance, the busiest man at Wager Talk. He's going to talk some betting on the Heisman. Also, the Dodgers San Diego game, different take, and Fresno, UConn, and Alabama, Miami, Florida for week 1. Teddy Covers, you got a very interesting big game breakdown coming. What are you going to be discussing there?
We're going to talk a little bit of NBA future book odds. We're talking about odds to win divisions in the NBA. I'm going to give 3 longer shot recommendations. If one of them cashes, we'll make money. So we'll do that in big game breakdown later in the show, Prez. But you wanted to talk about the Dodgers and the Padres. That was a sweat. Didn't matter what you had. Side, total, run line, under, over. Ends up with a push in a game that was 1-1 into the 15th on the under 8 with the total. And, of course, never in doubt, Dodgers on the run line in a 5-3 victory.
Yeah, I actually released the Dodgers. That was my play last night, and I have to admit I didn't make it to the end. I got to inning 12, and then I crashed. Woke up to happy news. But Teddy, my takeaway watching that game, and it's not about, I'm not looking at it from, and under pushed or, pitcher's duel ended up being 8 runs. My takeaway is more of a fan-based one. I love this rule of a guy on second base. I find it almost impossible to watch an entire baseball game. It is so slow and so boring. But when you start an inning with a man on second, everything changes. There is so much drama, that especially in the extra innings, the away team has got to have a different strategy. They got to try getting more than just the 1 run. And then the home team, if they held them to 0, could just bunt and sack fly a guy in. I freaking love it. Tell me this is something they're going to keep forever.
I would expect they will keep it forever. It's been a success, I would say, in what now? It's second season. Or whether doing that, Dave will tell us. Dave, how many years has it been, Dave?
Dave,
so whatever I'm saying is wrong.
Started last year. They're going to modify it next year. They're going to modify it. The 10th inning will be played, at least the 10th inning will be played normally, possibly the 11th. The discussion is when to input it. They are going to input it, but probably not till the 11th or 12th inning. And by the way, also next year, no more 7-inning doubleheaders. They're going back to 9-inning doubleheaders. So good.
Well, when you said they were going to look at changing it again or tweaking it, I was kind of hoping you'd tell me that they would start every inning like that, right from inning number 1. I love it.
You don't like baseball as much as I do. That's all right.
Yep. That is all right.
No, I mean it's kind of like me in soccer. I mean, soccer is it's the world's most popular sport. There's no question about that. But I don't like it. That's just me. I'm not saying what I like or dislike should be the rule for anybody else.
Yeah, listen, soccer at least is constant movement. I find it slow. It sucks the amount of or the lack of goals scored, but at least with constant movement, you don't fall asleep. Teddy covers, Dave Cokin joining us. Dave, college football, man, right around the corner. I just want to let everybody know, in the history of WagerTalk, no one has earned more money betting college football than Dave Cokin. And some would argue in the history of handicapping. That's how good you are in college football. You excited for this coming year?
Yeah, I'm always excited. Looking to be very selective early because it's strictly numbers basically early on, unless there's information to be shared. And actually, we'll share a little information on a game I'm not using this weekend, Nebraska, Illinois. No, my track record is that I might feel my way through early, and usually around October, November, things start to really sizzle. So we'll see if the pattern holds this year. But I'm obviously hoping to get off to a great start. On Nebraska, Illinois, it's not a game I'm going to play, but just passing along some info. And this is not direct info. I've got some good pipelines where I do get direct info. Nebraska's not one of them, but I do have good info from another source. They're having some chemistry issues. The Scott Frost is a very old school guy, and this generation is not really into old school for the most part. So unless a coach has, an incredible reputation, like a Nick Saban or something like that, if Nick Saban is going old school, okay, it's Nick Saban. But apparently, some of the Nebraska players and Scott Frost are not on the same page. It's not going real well out there. Illinois is an extremely popular dog this weekend. They're getting a lot of play, and a lot of it is mush play. Okay, I mean I'll just leave it at that. Some guys I know who are not. I'm not talking anybody in this business. I'm just talking people I know who bet. They're not the best, and they all seem to love Illinois this weekend. So take that for what it's worth. I'm not getting involved in that game.
Teddy, any questions about that game? Any thoughts?
So, it's interesting, Prez, you were talking about the under in Illinois, Nebraska before we came on air. And certainly, if I had to bet a total in that game, that's the only way I could look. I'm not expecting either of these two offenses to come out and be marching the ball up and down the field for 60 minutes on Saturday. And, I mean, total sitting at 55, it looks like there's been a little bit of over money. And I'm curious as to where that's coming from. I know Dave's not a totals guy, but from a total standpoint, to me, Prez, this one does not look like a particularly high-scoring affair.
Yeah. Dave?
For what it's worth, I made the number 6. My power ratings in Nebraska 6. That's giving Illinois about 4.5 for home field. So it's clearly no play territory for me.
Do you think that home field's worth 4.5 points? Because I've got Illinois as like a 1.5 or 2 point home field.
No, I think with the new coach, there's excitement. I boosted their power rating. Look, Bielema's he's going to win there because he's a fundamentally solid coach. He's going to build a running game and play power football, and I think the fans at Illinois have a right to be excited about it. So look, Nebraska is a game I think the Illini faithful think they can win, and I feel that a lot of schools' home field advantage is going to be stronger early this season than it normally is because there was nobody there last year. And there's just a lot of excitement everywhere. Maybe not here in Las Vegas with UNLV. I mean, they're kind of an oddball as far as that goes. But I think for most programs, I've added a point or two for their home fields, at least early on. I think it's going to be a big deal.
So that's a really interesting discussion, Dave. And I want to talk about this for one moment briefly before we get onto the games, because I've done none of that. And all of my home field power ratings are based on past performance. I'm not trying to be proactive with that. I'm only trying to be reactive. And with a team like Illinois that's at basically, 1 1 or 2 point home field edge at the most for a decade plus, to say this year that field's worth more. It's an interesting analysis, and I'm curious whether your numbers are going to end up being better or my numbers end up better at the end of the first month of the season, if these home fields are really going to be worth more at the beginning of the campaign.
I'm trying to gauge it on what I'm feeling is local excitement. And I do think that Illinois has been downtrodden for so long, but Lovey was not a popular hire to begin with. I think that was, boy. I mean, it's a lot of Bears people there, and bringing in Lovey didn't exactly excite the locals in Champaign-Urbana. But I think Bielema kind of does. He's got a good track record. I know it wasn't great at Arkansas, but in the Big Ten, it sure was at Wisconsin. And I think Illinois fans are excited about this.
Dave Cokin, everybody. Guys, Dan T writes, I love this show because it's the best damn show. That's really profound stuff, Dan T. I love this show because it's the really best show. I mean, look, we love and appreciate the kind words. Gordon writes, second best show. Bet on it is king. Okay. I mean, we're the best daily show ever on the planet. I mean, are you kidding me? Like Dave Cokin gets up here and explains why home field advantage is going to be better this year than all other years. He gives you logic, reasoning, thoughts. I mean, we cover every sport. This show freaking rocks. Dave, let's talk Dodgers, San Diego Padres. What a game last night. We spoke about it at the top of the show. Man, the Padres and the Blue Jays, I think they both would like August back. Padres are just on a free fall. I mean, they win one here or there, and then they lose 4 in a row. Max Scherzer versus Yu Darvish, a 7.5 on tap. Should be another pitching duel. How you betting this game?
Well, I guess I'm probably not, but I certainly lean Dodgers. Mentally, that's just another tough loss and maybe another nail in the coffin for the Padres. And I thought Tingler did an awful job managing the game in extra innings last night. I mean, he just botched it on a regular basis, including, I mean, not like Sean Anderson's a star. He's not. But the guy pitched a really good 14th inning. He had good stuff last night, unusually good stuff. Why would you not send him back out there for the next inning? Instead, he pitches Camarena, and he just got destroyed. I mean, it was just one bad move after another with Tingler. He just got completely outmanaged by Roberts in the extra innings. As for today, Yu's coming off the disabled list or injured list, whatever you want to call it. It's not an arm problem. It's a hip problem. So I would guess he's okay to pitch his normal amount of innings, but I'm not sure about that. So I think there's going to be an advantage on the Dodgers side with Scherzer. Scherzer's last outing at Petco was one he probably won't have forgotten anytime soon. He was sailing along and then ran into a bad stretch and gave up a grand slam to last night's losing pitcher, Camarena, in what was the absolute 15 minutes of fame for Camarena, because that's the best he's ever going to be in the majors. I just think mentally the Padres are in a real tough spot right now. So my side here would be the Dodgers first 5. Bullpen edge, you could still make an argument. The Padres, the one thing they've still got is a strong bullpen. That's about all they've got right now. They're not hitting. Their pitching's been dismal. And I don't know how sharp Darvish is going to be. I would lean Dodgers first 5.
Now, I mean, Darvish does have one heck of a track record against the Dodgers this year. He's faced them 3 times, 20 innings of work. He's given up 7 hits and 3 runs in those 20 innings while striking out 29 batters. What's a 106 batting average the Dodgers have in 3 starts over 20 innings against Darvish. Does that track record for LA's lineup against this starting pitcher concern you here, or is just the broader picture Dodgers on the way up, Padres on the way down, and Dodgers with an ace on the hill?
Yeah, I mean, they offset to some extent, but and the other argument is that, look, Darvish was not pitching well at all before going on the injured list, so he has to find his way back. When he was getting the Dodgers out, he was pitching some of the best ball in baseball. I mean, he was DeGrom was the Cy Young runaway at that point, but Darvish was in the mix for number 2 in the National League. He's certainly fallen way off that. And I mean, the Padres' run support was a lot better earlier in the season. It's a lot more comforting to go out there and pitch when you know you're going to get some support from your teammates, rather than the way things are right now for the Padres, when a pitcher's going to take the mound thinking he's going to be perfect because the team's not hitting at all. They're in a bad place right now mentally.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Let's get into some NFLX. Baltimore on the road playing Washington. The Ravens -4, total of 32.5, 32, or 31.5, depending on which out you have. Dave Cokin, what do we do in this one? Harbaugh or nothing?
Well, it's last Thursday, I sat here and said, just take the Ravens. All they do is win in preseason. And then, of course, I didn't give out the Ravens, and I didn't bet the game. And they won and covered. So I'm an idiot. Fortunately, I did win the 2 games that I did play last week in the NFL. But, I mean, it's the same thing. I don't know why, because the games don't count. But evidently, Harbaugh feels that it's good to win. He's one of those guys who believes winning is better than losing, whether it's preseason, exhibition season, playoffs, regular season, whatever. He wants to win. I think that's pretty clear. When you've won this many games in a row in preseason, it's pretty evident that it's not just one of those things. So if it's not broken, don't try to fix it, right? Ravens -4. I mean, that's a high tag. You'd rather it was -2 or something, but it is what it is. And that I don't. To me, you want to take your chances with Washington against them. Good luck. I'm not going to try it.
Sure. And of course, Dave, you can find Dave on another new Wager Talk show, a great show, College Football Daily, 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. Dave Cokin and Ralph Michaels, 3 days a week with Joe Ranieri as host and guest handicappers every day. I'll be on that show as well. So be sure to check out the new Wager Talk show, College Football Daily. Again, 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific time. Dave, Harbaugh was talking about Vince Lombardi when they won their 19th consecutive preseason game. He tied Lombardi's record. The last time an NFL team won this many preseason games was in the Lombardi era when the Lombardi Packers did it. Clearly, the markets aren't sleeping on the Ravens anymore.
No.
And Harbaugh can win this game without covering this point spread. Are you worried at all that the markets are getting a little bit inflated? Well, they are inflated on Baltimore. But are you worried that they're getting inflated on Baltimore in the preseason to a level that you can't play them yet, laying more than a field goal, laying 4 points here? Or is this an appropriate price range for a team that is bet on all the way every single August?
Well, I here's the thing. It's not overpriced. And the argument I'll use is, since Harbaugh clearly approaches the preseason differently than most coaches, there shouldn't be a discount in the line from what the regular season line would be. Now, what would the Ravens be at Washington in the regular season? Well, they'd be at least -4, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Probably more like -6. So,
yeah.
To me, why did they price it minus? I haven't made NFL power ratings yet for the week 1. So, Teddy, you can comment on that. I might be way off, but if I don't think it's not going to be less than -4 in the regular season, is it?
Well, the Ravens are -4 against the Raiders here at Allegiant.
Well, then they're going to be more than that against Washington.
No, the Raiders aren't power rated higher than Washington. No, Washington's for sure power rated higher than the Raiders.
They are?
But, by at least a game. The Raiders are a 7.5 win team. Washington's an 8.5 win team.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, the Raiders play in the AFC West, which has some really good talent in it, and the Washington plays in clearly the worst division in football. I mean, that division sucks. No. So
the NFC East is not even close to the worst division in football this year. The NFC South is far worse. Sorry, not the end of the AFC South is far worse this year than the NFC East. It's not close. So
we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the Eagles are really bad. Okay. The Giants
with such authority.
I'm still not I'm not buying Danny Dimes. I think maybe they're improved a little bit, but I'm not sure how much. Washington, I don't think is particularly good. They got a good defense, but the offense to me looks like it's still lousy. And who did I leave out?
Philadelphia.
Dallas.
Well,
yeah.
If Prescott's on the field, Dallas isn't that terrible.
Just to finish up the last of the point about what the spread would be if Baltimore was at Washington, I think it'd be right where it is because it's the Allegiant Stadium Open for the Raiders. That home field's worth more. I think it'd be right in that same range. Baltimore -4.
So in other words, there's no discount. Why shouldn't it be if given the preseason records, a record with Harbaugh? Why wouldn't you? To me, you make it -5 or -6, and you know what the market's going to do. They're going to come in and bet Baltimore again. I mean, I can guarantee you that I haven't seen the holds on the games for the first 2 weeks of the preseason, but I'm pretty sure the Ravens weren't one of the good results for the house.
Yeah. Dave Cokin joining us, everyone. Dave, you are what? You're the most profitable handicapper of 2021 at WagerTalk.com. Congratulations. We had Tokyo Brandon on the show on Tuesday, and he's number 2 in profit made at WagerTalk, and he was like, damn golf. Damn Dave Cokin and his golf picks. Anyway, congratulations on an outstanding year so far. Let's move to college football week 0. UTEP -10 against New Mexico State. 59 is the total. I know you are looking at a first half bet here. What do we do in this game?
Yeah, it's a lean, okay? I don't know that I'll actually bet it because taking money, actually risking money on New Mexico State, I don't know. There's a good argument that they could be the worst team in all of FBS. But that said, a couple of advantages for them here. First of all, don't read anything into those 2 spring games that they played against FCS competition because the coach said going into those games, we're not game planning at all. We're just using these to evaluate for the real games in the fall. So those results didn't mean a thing. And the fact is they did get to at least play 2 football games this spring. And I don't care who it was against. Could have been against Pop Warner team. At least they were 2 actual football games, which is better than spring practice, okay? I mean, spring practice is good. Actual games are better. So a little bit of an advantage there for New Mexico State. The other advantage is that UTEP, they're better than New Mexico State, but are they 10 points better? I made the number 7 on the game. So I think there's an advantage there for the Aggies. Now, why do I look first half instead of full game? Well, the longer the game goes, and this is kind of just logic at work here, when you're involved with a really bad team, and New Mexico State is terrible, the longer the game goes, the more chance there is they're going to screw something up and put some points on the board for the other team. And that's actually part of what happens with bad teams. They find ways to lose games. It's less likely in the first half. And you're getting more than half the number. You're getting 6.5. So I think there's a case, if you're looking for a little action this weekend, on a game you might otherwise not pay any attention to, because on a full schedule, would be probably the least bet game on the board. But on a week 0 schedule, if you want a little action, I think Aggies plus 6.5 in the first half gives you a chance to get to the window.
So, Dave, and you mentioned a couple times in your analysis, you talked about how these are 2 bad football teams.
Oh, yeah.
And one thing that I've really done over the years, and this is a big difference from when I first got to Vegas between where I am now. At this stage, I really try not to ask very bad football teams to do anything. I don't want to ask them to score. I don't want to ask them to get stops. I don't want to ask them to cover point spreads. Bad teams are going to lose. There's a situation where it's a very bad football team, and you gave it plenty of caveats, but do you think there is a possibility to make money with some bad football teams in college football just because they're priced as low in this situation as New Mexico State is right now?
Yeah, I think there's a chance, but I won't be one of the people who profits on it. Look, I don't do a lot wrong in college football. Not that I win all my games, but one of my philosophies is don't go, even if the number's too high, stay away from the really bad teams. And when I break the rule, I end up getting stomped. I played UMass in a game last year because it was a really good spot. They were getting too many points, and they lost the game by like 643 points. Never had a chance. Never had a chance. Like, what? How stupid can you? And it's one of those. Those are the ones where it's like after the fact, it's like, you really are a stupid asshole. Yeah. Saying that to myself, and I was. So, and that's why New Mexico State would strictly be Yeah, it's a beer money bet. I would not make a serious wager on the game because the Aggies are that bad. But in terms of value, there's a little bit on New Mexico State and maybe a little bit of advantage because they did have those 2 spring games and the coach got to look at some different things, which I think gives them maybe a little leg up as far as that goes. And UTEP is, and who's UTEP to be laying 10 on the road, by the way? Not like not UTEP. UTEP might not be bottom 10, but they're definitely bottom 20.
And I can say this for you, Dave. I'm speaking for Prez. I'll bet it's true. The guys that on Twitter that rip you when you lose a game, like, oh, you're an idiot. What you just talked about yourself when you bet UMass last year, we rip ourselves 100 times worse than anyone can rip us on Twitter. We make a stupid play. We know it.
Yep. And we know it pretty quickly, too.
And on that note, we got to end this segment. My God, it was excellent. Great work, Dave. Number 1 college football handicapper since the beginning of Wager Talk 7 years ago, give or take. Number 1 most profitable handicapper in 2021. What do you got to promote?
Well, I'm not on, if you notice the shirt, despite the fact that they suck beyond belief right now, I'm still a Red Sox fan, but I'm not betting them. The only thing I've got today is one baseball play, which you can get at WagerTalk.com. I also have a best bet up for college football next week and a free play for college football next week. So you can check those out and hopefully we'll deliver some good results.
Excellent stuff. Get out of here, Dave. Everyone stay with us. Teddy's Big Game Breakdown, Ralph Michaels, and of course the daily presidential address.
Are you ready for football season? Yes, you heard right. The NFL kicks off in less than 50 days, and Wager Talk and Gold Sheet have you covered with the new Gold Sheet NFL Summer Guide. The Gold Sheet NFL Summer Guide is over 80 pages of actionable NFL handicapping information to help you prep for this season from a betting perspective, and best of all, the guide is free. This includes lines for every NFL game, schedule with Ralph Michaels' exclusive power ratings, position-by-position breakdown with every NFL player that made a start last season, exclusive NFL health reports for each team, and much more. Just go to thegoldsheet.com and the guide is available on the front page with no sign up or information needed.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. I want to talk NBA future board. Yesterday, had the first chance to digest some of these virgin NBA numbers. Today, they're not virgin numbers anymore. We have lines across multiple sports books here in Vegas and across the country. We talked season wins yesterday. Today, I'm going to look at a couple of long shots to win divisions. We cash one of these, we're going to break even, at least. We cash more than one, or one of the longer shots. It'll be a good little NBA campaign. And we're looking at division odds. Now, when you look at the NBA future board, I want to make it very clear. Odds to win the title, you want long shots, you may as well just burn your money. Doesn't happen. You don't see long shots winning NBA titles. Once in a while, you see a long shot winning a division. Now, is that Raptors at 25-1 to win the division, or Spurs at 60-1 to win the division, or the Cavs at 80-1 to win the division? You know, there's some real long shots out there. Rather than make a stupid future bet to win it all, you're going to back a bad team. Maybe you look at a little bit of a shocker when it comes to the division and divisional odds. Now, there's a couple that stood out to me. In the Atlantic Division, the Boston Celtics sitting at 12-1 to win the division. Nets, nothing to play for in the regular season. 76ers, nothing to play for in the regular season. Boston at 12-1, that to me stood out and jumped off the page of me. Yeah, that's live. Now, note, I'm looking for divisions where there's maybe one or two favorites, not a division where there's four. Like the Pacific Division, I'm not getting involved there. And I'm not going to get involved in the Central, for example, where the Bucks are prohibitive favorites to win the division. And that's the only real choice. Even if they're hurt, they're supposed to win by margin. But Boston at 12-1. How about Denver at 3-1 to win the Northwest? They've got competition with the Jazz and the Blazers, but the Jazz at 2-5 versus the Nuggets at 3-1. I don't see that much difference between those two teams. I'm surprised the markets do at the open. Denver, Boston. Third one I'm going to talk about, and again, this is a long shot, no question. Charlotte at 10-1 to win the Southeast Division. Miami, it's not about the regular season. Atlanta, not about the regular season. Charlotte, maybe. So again, I don't expect all these to cash. If we cash one of them, we'll do all right. Cash more than one, might be a real good NBA season. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Teddy, I cannot believe you're looking at NBA. But hey, you do you, baby. You do you. Ralph Michaels joining us, and man, Ralph Michaels, he is so busy. It is next to insane. He pretty much wrote half of that. Well, let's just ask him. Ralph, do you sleep?
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. It's numbers, numbers, numbers. And, Teddy will test, Prez, and during the off season, just how much work we do. Well, all I wanted to do was quantify what I do, put it on paper, and share those numbers. People could see my power ratings, my returning starters, the new coaches, the recruiting over the last few years, the conference only yards per game and yards per play diff. And those are the kind of things that I use for handicapping. And again, I'm just putting them on print to help make our viewers better bettors.
And
Teddy,
Ralph, just let me jump in right there, because what Ralph is saying, he's taking all the work he did all summer and giving it away for free to everybody. So, I do work all summer. It's on little pieces of paper that nobody can read. It's on notes that I'm taking that nobody can make any sense of. Makes sense to me. Ralph did all that work, and he makes sure that it makes sense to everyone. So again, absolutely free. You can get it from his page over at WagerTalk.com. And Ralph, I want to ask you about the new college football show.
Yes.
Teddy, it is 5 days a week. So it's college football daily, Monday through Friday. It will encompass your show on Monday with Drew, Drew's Best Damn College Show, and then Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, breaking down the top games. Joe Ranieri as host. I'll be on 3 days a week throughout the week. Cokin will be on 3 days. You'll, of course, be on. And everyone else at Wager Talk, all your favorite handicappers, will be on. You know what? We started it last year with the college basketball show with Joe as host, Tony Mejia filling in a lot, Dave and I. It was a great synergy for the college basketball show. We're going to continue that with the college football show. Wager Talk, College Football Daily.
Yeah, that's gonna be a great show to watch, and Joe Ranieri, just an awesome host and a funny guy. Okay, let's go. We got 4 games, 4 bets, 4 pieces of actionable info to give out. Ralph, let's start with some betting for the Heisman winner. What do you got for us?
I'm going to talk about the Heisman, guys. But before I do that, I just want to jump in and fill on something Cokin said and Teddy, you talked about. Why has John Harbaugh won 19 preseason games, and why is he 7-2 ATS and that line on Washington? Well, let me point out 2 important notes when you're handicapping the preseason. No Lamar Jackson this week, and McSorley got hurt. So you have Tyler Huntley playing the entire game. I don't care what quarterback you have. If you have a quarterback that's taken a lot of reps in practice and he gets to play the entire preseason game, that's a huge advantage. And the number one reason Harbaugh is so successful in the preseasons, he likes playing his units together. His 1s play together, his 2s play together, his 3s play together. Other coaches like mixing and matching in the preseason. He does not. So when you get the second half and you have 3s that have been taking practice all camp, and they're playing together in the second half, that's why he has a big edge, and that's why the Baltimore Ravens have won 19 straight games. Heisman. Let me pull out a quick Heisman, then I'll go back to Teddy. I'm not a big Heisman bettor. I did make one bet. I'll break it down in a minute, but I want to bring out these points to people that try to get cute betting the Heisman. All 21 winners have been from Power 5 schools since the year 2000. 17 of the 21 have been quarterbacks. All of those teams have had 9 wins, and 18 of the 21 teams had 11 or more wins. So you need a Power 5 school with at least 10 regular season wins. The only 3 QBs that won the Heisman that did not have 11 or more wins, Lamar Jackson, RG3, Tim Tebow. So if you have a 1,000-yard rusher that's going to score 10 rushing TDs and throw for multiple thousands of yards, that's your only chance. With that said, I picked JT Daniels. He opened up at like 25-1. I got him at 18-1. You can still find him at 12 or 14-1. Why do I like him? Besides the Clemson game, I have Georgia favored in 7 or more. If they make it to the SEC championship and he has a great season, he'll certainly be alive for the Heisman. Teddy, anything on the Heisman or the Baltimore Ravens?
Well, I want to ask about Tebow because I didn't Tebow win the national title the year that he won the Heisman?
The 2007, Florida went 9-4 that year.
I thought he won the national title. Maybe he had because he had 2 titles at Florida. But the bottom line is what Ralph is saying here, and it makes perfect sense. When you're looking for Heisman bets, these are the type of bets that cash. Quarterbacks on elite teams, and that's the subset you want to focus in on. Prez, what other games we got to talk about?
Ralph, Dave Cokin came on, told us he likes the Dodgers' first 5 innings. You've got to play for us on this game. What do you like?
I'm not going to get cute. I had a 5% winner last night on the Dodgers Padres under 4 in the first 5 innings. It was 1-0, so an easy winner. Nice when that happens. I'm going under again for the first 5. Scherzer a .98 whip, 31-4 strikeout walk ratio with the Dodgers. Darvish back after a 14-day rest, as Dave mentioned. Home ERA of 0.95. And people, I think, are afraid to play under 3.5. They see that 3.5 and they shy away. Let me mention this. You get 3.5 when the total is 7 or 7.5. Since 2016 in Major League Baseball, when a total is 7.5 or less, teams have gone over 56.5%, 1,150 unders, only 886 overs. So don't be afraid of those 7s. Don't be afraid of those 7.5s. And when you're playing the first 5, don't be afraid of those 3.5 run totals.
So when Cokin talked about this game, I was trying to talk about how Darvish had been so good against the Dodgers. He was talking about L.A. Now that I've got you talking about an under, I want to talk about my concerns about Darvish today, and most notably that he's coming off the IL and he's facing a Dodgers team that can go over this total with one swing of the bat today. Do you worry about taking a first 5 under with a pitcher making his first start back off the IL, even someone as good as Darvish, especially considering how rough he was in the 2 or 3 weeks before he went on the injury?
Well, Teddy, you talk about the Dodgers bats. You look at the last 9 games. Yesterday was the first time they reached double-digit hits, and they didn't reach the 10th hit until the 16th inning. So this Dodgers may put up some runs occasionally, but they're not hitting that well, and the entire lineup is not hitting like sometimes when we've seen the Dodgers. And then you look at San Diego, in the last 12 games, they've only had double-digit hits 1 time. I'd be much more leery to take a pitcher on a 14-day rest off an injury if he's a younger first, second, or third-year pitcher. But we're talking about an experienced pitcher in Yu Darvish, so I'm giving him the benefit of doubt. If the Padres say he's ready, then I'm going to assume he's back to that level and back him here tonight.
Ralph Michaels, everyone. Ralph, let's turn our attention to week 0 college football, and we have discussed this Fresno State UConn game on a few shows. A minus 27.5 for Fresno State. UConn playing their first game in a long, long while. How are we handicapping this one?
Well, you look at Fresno and you say, oh, they have 3 or 4 underclassmen in their starting lineup. And you look at UConn and they have 11 underclassmen in their starting lineup. The thing to remember is this. UConn didn't play. So when you have underclassmen playing for UConn this year, they are very young, inexperienced underclassmen. Whereas on the flip side, if you have underclassmen playing for Fresno, that's a positive. Those underclassmen beat out one of the returning starters as Fresno returns 20 starters. And even more than that on the defensive side of the ball, as multiple guys started over half the season. I see it to be a whitewash. I'm not concerned about Fresno having Oregon on deck. It's not like they're prepping because they think they're going to beat Oregon. I love DeBoer. He was an incredible OC when he was at Fresno. You look back at his numbers a few years ago. He went to Indiana as the OC, did an incredible job, came back as the head coach last year. You have an experienced quarterback, Hainer, who was the Washington transfer, the best running back in the Mountain West. You're playing a secondary in UConn that has 3 underclassmen starting their first games. I will lay the 27.5 with Fresno this Saturday, excuse me.
So here's my question, Ralph, because this is one of these games that I haven't talked to one person that's made any case for the underdog here. And yet this line's been sitting at 27.5 forever. Is there, like, what possible case could someone make for UConn here? Because sometimes the games that it's only one side you can make a case for, those games concern me a little bit. Can you see anything that positive for UConn?
Well, Teddy, what makes this season is unique is we've never had a season where a team sat out. So, could they have been better during that season? Well, I'll tell you one negative and why I can't make a case for UConn. Despite playing last year, they had 20 people transfer. You had a quarter of your roster transfer out. So all of a sudden, you were with little depth to begin with, and now you transfer out. The only positive is, they have Mensah as a running back who is an established running back. The reports out of camp are the offensive line is looking much better than it's been the previous years. But again, they're practicing against a Connecticut defensive line that, has a horrendous track record as well. So I understand the point. And yes, most times I can make a case for the big dog, as we can in 99% of the games. But I really can't get there today. And if people say, again, you're looking towards Oregon, this Fresno State's goal is to not beat Oregon. It's to win the Mountain West. That Oregon game is in the way. Yes, it's their money game. Yes, they'll be excited. But that doesn't change their game plan this year. And again, it goes with the coach's mentality that DeBoer let his team score a lot when he was an OC here before. He let him score late in the games when he was the OC at Indiana. And I think he'll have that same philosophy this year.
Ralph Michaels, everyone. Ralph Rara Murray says 44-10 for Fresno State. What a great show, man. One more game to talk about. Guys, if you don't mind, please hit that like button. Would be greatly appreciated. Ralph, Miami, Alabama, week 1. Where are you going in this?
It's just simple, guys. I'm going the under. It's just a numbers game for me. Yeah, Bryce Young is going to be a solid quarterback, but as a freshman, you lose what you did last year with Harris, with Mac Jones, with Smith, with Waddle. You're losing 4 of your top 5 receivers. You're losing a person who may start for the New England Patriots, and you're losing your top running back. So that's too much. When I look at Alabama, people talk about their defense. Their defense is going to carry the team. Well, hell yes, it is. 8 returning starters for Alabama. If I look back over the last 8 years, Alabama has only returned more than 5 starters one time. That makes them scary. Number 5 D-line units in the country. Best linebackers in the country. Best DBs in the country. De'Ara King getting a lot of love. Miami will have a potent offense. I believe Alabama's played conservative. I think Alabama does shut down De'Ara King. I think the 62 is on the high side by almost 6 points. I do like under week 1, Alabama and Miami of Florida.
Ralph Michaels. Ralph, you're going to be back weekly once football starts, or you're just too damn busy, which I respect because, I honestly, I think you might be the busiest guy.
Oh, I have to be on with you guys. I love being on with you guys. So absolutely, we'll see what happens when college basketball and college football are both taking part. We're doing college basketball show and football, but hell yeah, I wouldn't miss being with you guys during the regular season of college football.
Awesome stuff. Hugs all around. Let's go. Time for the daily presidential address. Still not loving this song. I want to be pumped up. I hope you guys watched Wager Talk today, the world's best daily sports gambling show. You can find it every day, Monday to Friday, on our channel at YouTube, Wager Talk TV. Today show Dave Cokin and Ralph Michaels. We talked a lot of college football, some baseball, and a little bit of NFL. And Teddy actually spoke some NBA future bets in his big game breakdown. You can check that out on his Twitter feed or on Wager Talk today. Guys, I won my game last night. My run continues. I've now won 50 wins and 28 losses over the last probably close to 2.5, 3 months. Just really been in the zone. I cannot thank you guys enough for playing my bets night in, night out. It actually means the world to me. So thank you for that. I have one baseball play up for my clients for tonight. I have one college football play up for my clients for Saturday. And I have one NFL play for week 1 that is for sure the line will move. As for your free bets for tonight, 4 games for you guys. I am betting them all, but very small. The St. Louis Cardinals -1.5. The Toronto Blue Jays under the total. Don't understand why that is 8.5. This team is just not hitting the ball, and some 2 monster pitchers on the mound. I like the San Francisco Giants again tonight, -135, and I like the Washington Nationals as well. That's it for me. That's it for the show. I am eating shawarma today. Teddy, please, my brother, take us home.
Sure, that's going to wrap it for the Thursday edition. I want to thank Dave Cokin and Ralph Michaels for bringing their expertise to the show today. I want to thank you guys for taking time out of your day to hang out with Prez and I. Please, before you leave, give us a like, give us a follow, give us a comment. If you like Wager Talk today, again, this is our growth season, so please tell your friends about our show. We'll do it again tomorrow, same time, same channel, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east. Between now and then, enjoy the games and good luck.
Our 90-day all-access package is always incredibly popular at the start of football, but we've made it even better. Not only do we discount the 90-day all-access package to $7.99, but until August 29th, we've added 30 days. That's right, until Sunday, August 29th, you get 120 days of the most action-packed sports month for only $7.99. That would include the rest of the NFL preseason, all MLB plays through the World Series, the entire college football regular season, at least 15 weeks of the NFL, over 2 months of the NHL and NBA, over 6 weeks of college basketball, plus any soccer, UFC, Asian baseball, Asian basketball, golf, and any other sports your favorite capper releases. The most action-filled 120 days of the sports year are yours for only $7.99.